It was the most impressive presentation, and I learned a lot, no question about that. Yet I still have a question. What do you think is the biggest problem your country is facing?
I didn't get your name, thank you, sir.
I'm just sorry, Klaus Müller, City University and Foreign Press Association.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to have a PowerPoint presentation. I started doing it, but then I didn't have time to prepare. So I thought I'll talk, and I'm glad that you liked it. Which is the biggest problem, it's very difficult to identify. I would say few big problems. One is we have political problem. You see, distrust among politicians. This is a item which are putting us little down. The another one, of course, we have another big problem is our resource constraint. We want to build, let's say, big bridge, but we don't have the money to do it. Since our credit rating is good, but government is not borrowing just for borrowing's sakes, So many of our infrastructure has not been developed as much as we want it to. The other one, sustainability. We did pretty good in many of those yardsticks. But whether we can sustain, we are always apprehensive of it. We are afraid that if there is a big flood, big cyclone, here in Sandy, you spent $60 billion, we cannot afford. A tsunami in Japan, they can write a check, we cannot do it. So our sustainability is our big headache. And to help improve the sustainability, we look forward to the global help also. So there are many items which are critical for us. One is our even quality education. Because this is the only big resource we have. And if we have technically highly qualified, we believe that we can sustain some of those problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellency, my compliments for a brilliantly conceived and very well delivered presentation. My name is Swadesh Rana. I am former director of the Conventional Arms Branch in the Department of Disarmament Affairs at United Nations. And my question to you, sir, do you think it is possible for the South Asian countries outside the SAARC and through the ATT to do something about improvised explosive devices?
To?
IEDs, the improvised explosive devices. And my specific question is that if it is a political issue, is it possible outside the SAARC for the economic cooperation, bilateral or otherwise, to control or register ammonium nitrate? Because along with scrap metal, it is the major source of making IEDs. And those IEDs know no frontier. South Asian frontiers are porous, agriculture intensive, population dense. It concerns me because every single instance of one more IED exploded in our part of the world, it undoes almost a decade of development. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You see, right now, ATT conference is ongoing, disarmament conference for small weapons. You see, this is two parts. One is illegal, trade of small arms. At times they create problem. The other one, you are saying that locally, one way I believe it, as we believe it, is a mindset. First, we have to create a mindset that this violence way of achieving goals is not the right way. How you can achieve, it's a long process. From the school, families, we can do. But only by controlling, the inputs, how much you can do. Because that I don't know, how much we can do this. Currently, for example, in our country, if you want to buy some of the, even they use fertilizer to make those homegrown ideas. You have farmers, they have to buy their products. Now there are bad elements, they do it at times. And we identify who is buying it. But someone is buying and he sells it to another. It's a tough area. But with political, strong determination that anybody is found in doing it will be punished to the maximum, it could reduce it. Because in our country we have reduced it, but still there are sometimes you see that. So my reading is we need, of course, a strong political commitment from all the governments, and we should be transparent. We should, because there are sometimes, off-border trade, and so it should be done in a regional cooperation. All countries in the region leadership should be committed, and they should be transparent, open up their book, who is doing what. From Bangladesh to India, India to Pakistan, Pakistan to, we have to open our book. If we are committed for the well-being of people, the leadership has to be committed to open up in this area. I don't know how we can resolve this problem, but good news is it has subsided, at least in my country, and it has gone down very good. But to sustain it, we need political commitment and cooperation. I don't know any other way. These technical things helps, but up to a limit.
Sure. We have time for only 2 more questions. Yes, sir, in the corner.
I'm sorry, I'm taking too long.
It's okay.
I'll shorten it.
Good afternoon. I apologize in advance if you've covered the subjects that I'm going to bring up. One is, what is the situation of the relationship with your government and the media in your country? Because there's great concerns in many, many countries of suppression of the media. And second, I don't know if you brought up the question of terrorism and how it affects Bangladesh.
Good. Thank you for your question. Number one, you see, that I think there is a disinformation. Bangladesh media is very open. We have around 23 private electronic media, television stations, and we have around 500 dailies across the countries, 500. And our people read a lot of these. And they're open, government has no control on the media, you see, and this government believes in the, the openness of the media. So this part, and if you open up our television stations, late night television stations, you'll find talk shows who are all critical of government, by and large. But recently there is a trend. This is a significant trend. You see, the government is doing some war crime tribunals. Those who committed crime against humanity, involved in rape, involved in murder, involved in arson, these sort of limited some specific areas. So there are only 10 they have identified at least, those who had committed. And to nullify that thing, you see, there are a lot of media, these international media, they have been taught that tribunal is bad. Tribunal, when we set it up, you see the UN, Center for Transitional Justice, when their human rights group, they develop the procedure and processes. The tribunal is open. Anyone can go and sit there. You see, it's all open. The fact sheets are all open. But for that, somehow some lobby group has been engaged to portray bad element about it. But we want to end, I talked about the end of culture of impunity. Because in our culture, if you're a big guys, you somehow manage to develop this, that nobody can touch you. This is creating bad publicity for us that we are trying this after 42 years. But we believe a crime, a murder or a rape, once is a rape, it don't have that time. A murder don't have a time limit. Anyway, so our press is very open. Recently the thing is around thousands and thousands of young men, they came forward and they demanded trial of those guys. And then media changes, many of those talk shows, they're now supporting the government. The other thing is, second question was about terrorism. we have zero tolerance to terrorism. We believe that, and that result is we had no incidents or fatalities for the last 4 years. No fatalities for terrorism. We have picked up lots of terrorists, we hang them, and also we are trying another is trying to cut the funding. We get funding from developed countries, like UK for example. Islamic organization was sending money to some girls to train them up. We identify, because when it comes from a USA or from, you think that these are safe, but at times that's not that the case. So we are with the money laundering programs that we have instituted, and it is helping us. We have reduced, South Asia has the highest incidence of terrorism. And in South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Nepal was there. But in Bangladesh, it is zero now. So this is the good news. And we have reduced fatalities is zero, and incident has gone down. In Bangladesh is zero. So we are lucky in that. We controlled it. But to sustain it, we need the cooperation of the neighbors also to sustain this process. Yes?
Actually, we have time for a few more
okay,
questions.
that's
But
good.
for the interest of time, what we will be doing is,
Take
we are,
couple of
yes,
questions.
we'll be taking a few questions at once, and then our ambassador can address all those questions together. So we are going to take 3 questions at a time. So we will begin from the end.
Thank you. My name is John Ann Winchester with the Communications Coordination Committee for the United Nations and an organization called Meaningful World at the United Nations, which deals with post-traumatic stress syndrome. And post-traumatic stress syndrome can come from the impact of climate change, civil wars, but also from an outmoded economic and financial crediting of what the true cost resources are of a transitional economy. So for instance, when a country says we don't have the resources to do what we need to do, and that's every country basically on the planet, with the exception of a few, rather than looking at what the resources are, including intellectual property, including resilience, which certainly there's an incredible model from the experience with flooding, etc. And I apologize that I missed your presentation. I appreciated that there's an electronic version. So I just spent yesterday today with the event at the United Nations authored by the Bhutanese mission with this gross happiness product idea. And now we've added wellness to that issue, which I believe incorporates all the other issues that we're talking about. The remote sensing devices, the satellites, enable us to discover and inventory what resources are that are under the ground. And we're starting to really map what's in the ocean. And for the landlocked countries, there's one set of issues, and for the island and coastal countries, who owns those resources under
Actually,
the
for
ocean?
the interest of time, I would.
So I'm itemizing a little bit some of the issues that are.
Okay, I'm sorry for
the
interrupting.
whole sustainable development idea, and I'd like you to comment on what your country and the allied countries that you are working with are thinking about how to create the transformative economic.
Okay, thank you very much. For the interest of time, we have to move on to the next question. And actually, we are starting from the back, and then we'll move forward. So any other question from that
Questions
end?
and speeches.
And please, be brief in your question. Yes.
Hi, my name is Sudi, and I'm with the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. I wanted you to talk a little bit about your garment and apparel industry, and talk about kind of your commerce activities and opportunities to connect with New York in the areas of your garment and apparel industry.
Okay, and we'll take one more question.
Let me take it. Yeah. Thank you. My name is Roberta Weisbrod with Sustainable Ports, and I wanted you to speak about the strength of the maritime sector. I understand you're now doing shipbuilding for export. I also wanted to hear a little bit more about development of ports, and then finally what you're doing about maritime safety.
So I got 3 questions. The first one was the resilience. you know our story. Our people are very resilient. They have those difficulties, calamities. USA Today termed Bangladesh as the most happy. People of Bangladesh are the most happiest. I don't know how, but they did it. In the USA Today, you'll see that. Our people don't have too much demand, I think, by and large. So if they get their foods foods morning and night, they're relatively okay, possibly. Otherwise, how it came, on the earth came up. Now, you see, you talked about these resources, water in the area. Recently, we are very lucky that ICITLAWS, the UN Law of the Sea, we put up a case because we believe there are some resources underneath in the offshore island. And there was a little problem with us, with Myanmar and also with India. We had both were claimants for the areas which we supposed to have within our range. So we took it to, we believe in law, so we went to the ICITLAWS, the UN Sea of Law of the Sea. The verdict came in favor of, verdict came a judicious verdict. As a result, we got the sea, ocean front, as much as like the area acre of Bangladesh, same space of Bangladesh we got in the Bay of Bengal. And we believe we can make best use of those resources in the future. We don't have technology much, but good news, our friends, from USA, from Canada, from all the countries, they are exploring. And we have developed, recently we have developed a lot of gas, new gas, around 5,000, I don't know, cubic meter something I see in the paper. So those are coming up. And we believe that there are plenty available. And if that is, we'll have some resource. And we are not Qatar, but we will have some resource. So we are in that. We are working hard and trying to see with our little resources and with the help of partners, we are working on that area. In the New York Chamber of Commerce, right? Thank you very much, In the garment and apparel is still, there are scope because we don't produce very high quality products yet. There you can, you can start and you can bring your profit. We guarantee 100% return of your profit. So companies can, many of the garment factories in Bangladesh are basically Korean factories. They're the one who started it. Many are owned by them till today, you see. So Bangladesh is very open in that context. So the opportunities we have is in the pharmaceuticals now. It's a growing field for us. And she mentioned about shipbuilding. This is a growing field. Once we never knew that we could build ships. But now we are getting orders from Germany, from all the Scandinavian countries for ships. And because it's cost effective. This is a new area. It is, it's not government promoted. It somehow, it's the dynamism of innovativeness of the young people who are coming. I visited one of those shipbuilding, and I visited a long time ago someone in Boston, and I see comparing in Boston has more steel, up there less steel, but they're making big ships, ocean-going ships. This is a good area. Pharmaceutical is an area where there are a lot of opportunities. Our products are cheap. I give one little example. I was back home and by mistake I didn't take my pressure morning. I take a blood pressure medicine, and I didn't have it. I forgot to take it, and you have to take every morning. So I went to the doctor for a generic brand, and they gave me a local brand. Here with my co-payment and all those, I pay around $60 with my co-payment, healthcare insurance. But up there, it took me 35 taka, means around 50 cents. I paid 50 cents for the whole month, you see, wow. And I couldn't finish it, I brought it, so I showed it to my doctor here, that this is the one I'm taking. He said, it's as good as the brand one, and you can be saved. Now I was thinking I don't have to buy any more medicine here, bring it from there. So it's cheap. So this is an area which is growing up, and quality is being monitored by some US drug agencies also, because we look forward to export it to USA, and their rules are so stringent, so that's why government has made an agreement with the US drug agency to monitor it. So this is a good area. And in the ports, you see, we have 2 large ports, another is coming up, government, but we don't have enough resource. The one in the India is providing some credit, I believe, and we'll develop the ports. We need to develop our ports because we want to make it a hub, you see. And with the opening of transit trade, both for Bhutan, Nepal, and India, you see, we have to build those ports more. We have built, our ports are not fully utilized yet. One of the connecting roads and rail lines are not that good. Just last week, when the Indian president was in Bangladesh, we started electric Broadway, train, and that is a new one which could transport a lot of the goods, and our port would be better utilized. Also, it started with the port city and the other capitals, and we plan it to go even to this whole train line, even to go to our objective is to go to even Nepal and Bhutan. So we'll have good training at that time. We are working on it.
We have only 5 minutes left, so this will be the last set of questions. And after, so just 2 more questions, one here and one here. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Very, very impressive delivery, and I was on the edge of my seat, I must say. Colin Mitchell is my name, and I'm a tax advisor. I'm also working with NYU Stern as an advisor there. Certainly the area that interests me is raising revenue, and all that you spoke about is very impressive. They're all action-oriented, and I really like that. Now, raising revenue is so important. The question is, do you have any existing arrangements, either by treaty or by OECD arrangements, or private investments, where you're offering incentives to companies abroad to come in? Do you have those kind of tax holidays arrangements?
Thank you.
And just one more question, and this is the last question.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for a very inspiring morning speech. My name is Faye Feller, and I'm Educational Coordinator for Voices of Women Worldwide and Voices of Women Worldwide TV. And my question to you is, since you have such a principled new commitment to so many outstanding issues in your country, is your Prime Minister currently at the UN representing any programs at CSW? And if she is it possible you might recommend that the CEDAW and the resolution that you spoke about earlier today, 1335, that maybe we can get those 2 issues together, because I believe that the optional protocols that exist within CEDAW, and a wonderful, outstanding woman and a strong woman like your Prime Minister could really change some extraordinary policies within the way women are treated and young girls are treated around the world. Thank you.
First, let's go back to the raising tax revenue. This is an area we are still weak. Our major tax comes from it comes from the Belarusian tax. What is it named? Fact, yeah. What's the name we use?
Value added?
Value added. That's what we and the other one is the custom duty. It's a custom duty.
Okay.
Personal tax is very low. Government is trying to expand it. I don't know whether they have developed any relationship with any particular OECD or countries you mentioned, or any private group. I don't know. But this is one worth exploring. Our finance minister will be here on the 14th of October to attend the Global Economic Conference. Maybe if you can, I'll give you my card.
Okay.
Then I'll ask him what he's doing, because they want to they are looking also for another area. Is we have around 14 billion our reserve fund, and government is now trying to see whether those funds could be invested.
Okay.
But this is a new area, and we have to explore and look at it. Now, yes, Faith, I have a good friend, Faith Willard, and she lives in Cape Cod, and she has a lion heart. In many of our philanthropic areas, helping children, helping these women and children, those are trafficked for slaves-like servitude. They've been a great help. Yes, Bangladesh, leadership is very committed for women empowerment, as I said. In the last CSW, we played a very pivotal role. Because we are a Muslim country. So there are a lot of questions about issues. In our society, you cannot talk about lesbian, gay, these you cannot talk. Or transsexual is difficult. It could be riot, But we worked in that area to end domestic violence. We cover all under that. And the issue you raised was, what was exactly?
Is it possible to utilize the intergovernmental, to work with the CEDAW, the instrument of the Convention of Elimination of Violence Against Women, and to work with those two instruments, CEDAW and the resolution from Building a Culture of Peace, to make that more powerful and empower it with your Prime Minister, who is a woman, which would be a very effective way of using those two tools.
Okay. We are also a member of CEDAW, as you know, and we played a pivotal role in the last CSW. Finally, we had an outcome. And now, I think the issue that you raised, whether we can link 1325 and the CEDAW and these together, we have to explore it, and then I can get back to you. I don't know at this stage, but if you have a specific issue, I can discuss it with my experts and I must tell you, we are very lucky that our friends across the member states, they have been very nice to us. When we approach with some issues, even this recent CSW, some issues were not very happy, but when we discussed, they honor us, respect us. So if you bring it to me, I can look into
Thank
it.
you, sir.
And I cannot say much about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before giving the floor back to Mehmet Khalid, I would like to thank Mr. Ambassador.
I have one more statement. You see, the statement is climate. Today we are suffering, but you see, once that RFK said, Robert Kennedy said, if you believe in an issue, raise it. If you raise it, then another will bring it up. Then another, and then many, and once many will come forward, not the mightiest tyranny can stop it. So I need your help in this area. This is a global issue. You have to create, mindset among people that it has to be handled together. Look at even in New York, where we never thought of there would be Sandy storm. You see, our electricity gone for a few days. We have difficulty. Everybody can face this music, and therefore we have to unite it together so that we face this challenge. I need this appeal to you.
Let us thank our ambassador one more time. And I would like to thank one more time Mehmet Khalid for hosting this event. And I hope that the peace movement initiated by Fethullah Gulen that you were trying to implement, that will make the world a better place. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank Ambassador again for this wonderful information. He is definitely a resource of information that could be shared with so many people. I would like to recognize a few more people that I forgot. I would like to recognize Ambassador Narinda Kakar from the IUCN and Universe for Peace. And because he has been so helpful to put this program together. And also I'd like to recognize the representation from Sierra Leone with us. Thank you so much. Last but not least, I have a colleague, his name is Chuma from Nigeria. He has done the research about Bangladesh. Just to tell how globalized we are, Chuma is originally from Nigeria, but he had his higher education in the Philippines, right? Malaysia.
Wow. And
then now he is back in New York City, trying to get his, follow-up education here in the University of New York. So this is a great, combination of education getting from many different countries. And also I'd like to thank Galinjan Kedoso, who is my co-worker that we work together. And again, lastly, thank you so much for your interest, for being with us. And I hope, this program have been helpful for you and for future collaboration. And Bangladesh is definitely a country that has to be taken as an example, as a model for other countries in many different ways. And for the memory of today's event, we would like to present a gift for Ambassador Abdul Momen.